Fall has officially arrived, and with that, there's a lot of new releases out. One of them is the next standalone expansion for Sorcery, called Arthurian Legends. But wait, what is Sorcery? Why is it hailed as the Magic the Gathering experience of the 90s, and why did it make so many waves? Let's find out today on Tabletop Goodness. Welcome back, folks. Today, I want to talk to you about a game that I have been supporting since it started out as a Kickstarter campaign in March of 2022. Sorcery was the OG TCG that broke Kickstarter records before Altered did it again. I told you about that by smashing the project goal of 445,000 New Zealand dollars with over 5.7 million raised. It's the love child of Eric Olofsson, who worked on computer games like Path of Exile, you may have come across that, and Nicholas Reynolds, and was conceived out of the desire to again have a game experience like the one that Magic the Gathering provided in the early 90s. Well, what does that mean? That means stellar art, an exceptional booster opening experience, and a game and world that you just want to immerse yourself in. But what exactly is Sorcery, you might ask? Sorcery is pitched as a so-called kitchen table TCG, meaning this is not a game exclusively for conventions, tournaments, etc., but for the enjoyment in your own private home as well. It sports tactical elements due to its grid-like nature, cards with elemental affinities like air, earth, fire and water, and an avatar that represents you and your special abilities on the battlefield. Well, I did say grid-like, didn't I? There's actually more to that than meets the eye. Cards can be in different regions even, like the surrounding void, the surface, underground, and even underwater. Your mana is provided by your so-called sites every turn, and requirements to play a certain card are visibly denoted by the amount in the top left corner of your cards. In addition to that, you have to pay attention to the elemental threshold to play a card. So it could very well be that you have the amount of mana necessary to play a card, but not the elemental affinity required. Tricky. And given that you do have to think about where to place your minions in order to ensure that they either can attack other sites or minions and or defend your realm, is what makes the experience of playing Sorcery so interesting. It's not just some play creatures, apply some modifiers, attack. It's that very precise, almost surgical placement that has to be considered during every turn. Well, maybe one of the most interesting opportunities this grid-like setup provides is so-called damage grids. Now, traditionally, damage in TCGs is either to the caster, a single creature, or all of them, or a combination thereof. Sorcery's grid allows that to change and affect sites and locations close to the magic that has been cast. Those cards will denote how they affect the nearby sites and can lead to devastating attacks. Same can be said for projectiles. This is an effect that will target multiple sites along a given path, say straight forward or to each of its sides. It's mechanisms like that that keep the experience fresh and oftentimes very unpredictable. Now, we did talk a bit about game mechanics, but we didn't talk about the card experience itself, as this was hailed as a throwback and head nod to 90s Magic. Well, firstly, you will find out a lot of well-known artists of that era are represented in Sorcery. Melissa Benson, Vincent Pompetti, Ian Miller, but also art by no other than Frank Franzetta, actually, for the first Alpha edition. Every card is hand-painted, digitized, and the foiling process is insanely meticulous to provide an experience like no other. Opening a booster is like going to a small art exhibition, you might say, and the random insertion of so-called curious cards that are slightly or massively altered versions of their corresponding counterparts is a real rush to the head. Curious are even rarer than foiled uniques, and pulling one feels a bit like hitting the jackpot. And I guess all of that is exactly what Eric's Curiosa, the company that runs Sorcery, wanted to achieve. Yes, Sorcery can be quirky at times and the rules still need refining in many places. Yes, there have been delays and availability was not overly great, but if you're in it for the love of beautiful cards, an experience that has not been around in a long while and have some time to spare, well, I believe this could make for an excellent addition to your game rotation. In the meantime, go ahead and check out sorcerytcg.com and get an idea of what I'm raving about, and I will see you next time at the table for more tabletop goodness.